Hey guys, my name is Siphahle Dlamini and you're welcome. Welcome guys to a new sit down episode, and when we do sit downs we're doing career conversations, so I'm glad to have you here. Before we do anything, please click on that subscribe button. Please do that. Click on the notification bell as well, and click on the like button so that the algorithm knows that you're interested in this content and you'd like to see more of it, and it'll start pushing it to other people. But before we start, thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed and joined the channel. I hope that you enjoy it as we continue on, and without further ado, let's start with the episode. So the reason why I wanted to record this sit down is because we are in the middle of the year. It's June, and what that means for majority of people is that they are going through performance reviews, mid-year performance reviews, and there's a lot of anxiety that surrounds that conversation, and you're hoping that whatever you've been doing for the past 6 months is reflecting and you're making an impact. So it's a conversation that you're having with your manager, and I just wanted to share some tips in preparation for that conversation. And I also did some research for myself as well. There's always a lot to learn, especially from YouTube, some advice and tips that people share. So this is my take, and maybe I'll tell you guys how it went with my one. So let's go. So the first tip on my side is to prepare your accomplishment stories. So for the past 6 months, you've been working on projects, you've been engaging with people. So what can you put together that is evidence, tangible evidence or quantifiable evidence that you can provide to your manager to show that this has been your performance, you're performing well, this is the feedback that you've been receiving, these are the deliverables that you've done, and this is the impact that it's had. So it's always a well-rounded conversation that you should be having, that this is what I've done, this is the impact and the outcome from what I've done. So do your preparations. Sometimes you can also take your objectives that you've contracted in the beginning and just put them side by side and say, this is what I promised, what can I show to my manager that I've delivered on this, and also what have I done above and beyond the requirements that I've had or promised in the beginning of the contracting. So please walk into that situation prepared. It also shows your manager that you're accountable, that you are able to, gather your evidence and make a valid presentation of what it is, because basically it's a conversation to say, hey, I've done my part and this is what you're trying to say. The second tip for me would be for yourself to be very clear about what you want from the conversation. A lot of the times in your mid-year review, you sort of maybe want a certain outcome from it. It could be maybe being assigned to a different project. It could be a promotion, it could be a raise. So have that in mind as well when you're doing your preparation, that this is the request that I have of my manager, this is the evidence that I would like to share to motivate for the request that I'm making. So always have that in the back of your mind as you prepare your evidence, that this is what I want, and be as articulate about your request to your manager and provide the supporting evidence and documentation for that. And also in terms of material and what supporting evidence that could be, it could be the reports that you've written, the stats that you have collected over time, which shows maybe the impact that you've had in your area or with the project. It could be emails with feedback from business, anything that you have done to show. It could be pictures of things or sessions that you've scheduled and all of that. It could be anything that shows that you did this and it had a positive impact to the people that you were delivering it to. The third tip I have is listen to the feedback. And this is something that I also took note of in my research that I was doing. Listen to the feedback, because sometimes you could think that you were doing well, right? So basically, let's start from here. The conversation could be positive or negative, and you are coming in with, I'm assuming, thinking that you've been doing well and things have been going great, and the evidence that you've collected supports the positive view that you have. And it could happen that your manager doesn't have or doesn't necessarily have a positive review for you or positive feedback, and has a lot of constructive criticism that they would like to give and work on an action plan on how you can improve. So with your preparation that you've done, in listening attentively, you will gauge the tone of the conversation. And then if you'd prepared for a more positive review, take what your manager is saying and use that as an opportunity to then ask your manager to elaborate, and then also work on an action plan on how you can improve going forward. It doesn't help if your manager says, dude, you haven't been doing really great, so I need you to work on 1, 2, and 3, and then you're still pushing and saying, hey, I did this, I did this, especially if your manager has tangible evidence as well to show that you haven't been performing in this area, I'd like for you to focus on these things. So you might have to hold back a little bit on your request and work on those action items, and then maybe in the next cycle you can make the request for whatever it is, whether it was a raise or a promotion, whatever it was. But if the conversation is positive and you're both aligned and the tone is the same, you can then continue on to make your request and be as articulate and realistic also of the request that you're making. But take from the conversation, just gauge how the conversation is going. Also just give an opportunity for your manager to lead the conversation as well, and then make it a two-way conversation after that, so that you don't trap yourself also. Step 4 for me is capturing what the next steps are, whether it was positive or negative. If it is negative, I'm sure there are actions that your manager would like for you to just focus on for the next couple of months. Just list those and make sure that they're clear and you both understand what the expectation is from there. Also, if it was positive and you've made your request, maybe you want that promotion, just ask your manager what the next steps are, what the expectations are as well, so that you can also mentally prepare and manage your own emotions and expectations. That will also include timelines, so just be clear on what the timelines are that you need to kind of prepare yourself to get feedback on your request, because it is a request. So it could be a yes or a no, but at least you've put it out there. So just get the timelines, because it also helps with your own anxiety. And then lastly, I'd say send out a message, whether I'm such a, I don't know, maybe it's a bad thing, but I like teams. I like to quickly get to a message, but send your manager an email thanking them for the opportunity, engaging with you, and maybe also cover the areas that you guys discussed, as well as the request that you've made to your manager, just for record purposes as well. But do thank them for the opportunity. It's always good manners to say thank you. But yeah, I think if you manage it in that way, it should be a well-rounded review process. Guys, so those are my tips on how to just navigate the mid-year review conversation with your manager. You know what you've been doing the entire year. And I think lastly, something that I know I need to work on is actually having a folder, a POE folder, where you put all the things that will help motivate for the request that you're trying to make, or motivate for your performance review. So throughout the year, you can be putting that in your folder, so that when you get to this stage, you're not trying to now find evidence that's going to support why you're good at what you do. So be proactive in that way. That's an approach that could definitely help you stay on track and have it be less anxious to have to look for evidence. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and you'll find it applicable as we go through this mid-year review. Again, it is a very anxious time, and you just need to prepare yourself, and be clear and articulate about what it is that you would like to get out of that session. But I hope that it goes well for you guys and that you guys have an even better second half of the year. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in my next episode. Bye.